Financial wellness. Reach out to them for advice at 855-DON-GINO. And now back to your hosts, Don Getling and Gino Fronti.
Well, thank you for staying with us. Hopefully you've been with us for the entire show, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. every Saturday. The Don and Gino Real Estate and Finance Show. For over 6 years, our goal of guiding you to personal and financial wellness. I know there's no paychecks coming in the mail for us. Gino, have you seen it?
No, I haven't seen it yet. But actually, it's not true. I get it every single day because
Yes.
we do have the trust of our great partners that refer us business because they know we'll do a great job. So every day we get paid for this.
Well, no better way to be accountable than having your own radio show every single week where it helps us to pursue some of the best professionals we can. It keeps us in tune with what's really happening in the markets. We actually have now the National Real Estate Cafe, which is a daily video blog that you can get at nrecafe.com, or you can even have it sent right to your phone every day. A 3 to 4 minute update on what's really happening in the real estate and financial markets, because the media likes to spin things. They are entertainment companies,
Yes.
and they'll spin the same report two different ways, a negative or a positive way. We dissect it and break it out for you because we know the trends. One report does not make a trend, and your trend is your friend.
Yeah, it's funny. So we talked about when interest rates rose very quickly. It was all over the media, like just crazy, all over the media. And then they've kind of like settled down and come back down. You don't hear anything about mortgage rates slowly settle back down to where they were prior to the election. You never hear that. It's just not exciting,
Or the
right?
mortgage bubble. We talk about our crystal ball here. This thing is not cloudy at all. It's nailed it so far because of knowing the trends has allowed us to basically foresee directions in the real estate and financial markets 3 to 6 months ahead of time.
Wow.
And we actually called the bottom of the real estate market 6 months before Warren Buffett did.
Yeah, we did. But again, we're willing to take more risk. Well, we're willing to take more risk, right? A guy like Warren Buffett who owns all these assets, either he can't say it publicly, but he's probably saying it to his friends, or he's making financial moves or things like that. We take more risk. We'll tell you what we think is going to happen.
He first bought everything at the bottom of the market.
Right, and then he told
announced it.
everybody so that he could pump it.
Now that I own everything.
Right. In
You
fact,
know, he bought a property in Laguna for $140,000, and he's selling it right now for $10 million.
yeah, 11, I think, right?
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah.
Gosh.
Yeah.
How about that? That's good investing.
That's a really good investment.
He just liked Laguna, so he bought a place there.
I
Yeah.
want to do that.
He's
I
not
like Laguna.
he's not smart at all. So, but ultimately the reason Don's bringing that up is that because of having professionals like you on, we learn so much about everything, and we're in tune about everything, not just the one thing that we do. So, that's what we've been talking about today, is being a good resource for your clients.
Actually, before I forget, since you're such a great resource, how's the best way to get a hold of you, Lisa?
To actually call Pool and Shaffrey at 661-290-2991. Check us out on our website at www.poolshaffrey.com. Or you can always email me at lodom@poolshaffrey.com.
There you go.
Great resource and a great friend. What's cool is you become friends with your clients. We become great friends.
I do.
And we love referring our friends to you because you're going to ask the right questions. And you make them feel good. Every single client we see, you go, she was really nice. And I'm glad I went to her. I didn't think about what would happen to our cats, for example. I know I use that for example, but you don't think about that stuff.
Nope.
What's going to happen to this or anything. It's just, for me, what's going to happen to my motorcycles, man? Dirt bikes.
No, but we all have our things that are important
Yeah.
to us, and it's a really important thing to look at every so often. And I know one of the things that we talked about during the break was the need to double check, even if you have one done, to go back to it every couple of years and just make sure that everything still works in it.
And not all trusts are created equal,
no,
right?
not all trusts are created equal. Interestingly enough, you were mentioning the media. And one of the forms of media that we didn't talk about is social media. And people are always putting recommendations for trust attorneys on Facebook. And I hesitated to put a diatribe about something that happened. I was tagged several times.
Diatribe.
I looked that one up. Hold on.
50-cent word for the day. Darn attenries.
So
I'm not going to hashtag that one because nobody will look that up. I guarantee it.
So I was tagged in a trust attorney recommendation, which I was grateful for the people who had tagged me. I thought that was very sweet of them. But a series of people recommended LegalZoom. And, no offense to LegalZoom, but it's not a substitute for advice. And one of the things that we've talked about today is how important that advice is and how you can add value by recommending a good CPA or someone else that you can go to, a good lender, a good financial planner, these issues come up so often in what I do that I can't even imagine how a computer screen could possibly flip out the information that you need it to flip out to give you the proper advice that you need for your family. And so my diatribe, I was going to write on my own personal Facebook page because I obviously didn't want to be disrespectful to the people who put it on there. But using LegalZoom for your professional services is akin to my view of using WebMD to diagnose your children with an ailment. I would never do that. I would never go to Web. I might use it as a
Unless you don't really.
bounce if I'm not sure about something and I want to get a little more information. So LegalZoom offers a lot of free information about what a trust is and different things, but LegalZoom can't ask you about the relationship between your children. It's a computer that you put information into and it spits something out. And it also isn't going to explain to you how it works and whether this is really the proper planning for your children.
Well, why something's more important than something else or
Right.
something you didn't think of. Because you enlighten us all the time of the things we don't even think about.
I mean, there are so many things, and so much of what you hear from me is experience. Things come up in my practice every single day that a computer can't possibly generate. It can't possibly ask all those questions. The algorithm cannot possibly be that complicated.
So let me use a small analogy. So our businesses require licenses, right? So
As does mine,
right.
interestingly enough.
So what's interesting about
think.
that is even within an industry that requires a license, the top 10% of that industry or the top 5% of that industry are so different than the rest. I mean, so to use the analogy, it's like not everybody that has a driver's license is a good driver. We all know that, right?
Absolutely.
Keep it. Don't do it.
I'm not saying
Don't
a
do
word.
it.
so easy to jump on that
So
one.
the reality is, but there's a certain group that drive very, very well. And that's what we look for here on our show is that particular group. The top 5% of attorneys, the top 5% of insurance planners, the top 5%. Because those are the people that you can really trust to be accountable and to help you through whatever situation you're
And
in.
that top 5% doesn't mean income. That
No.
5% is basically accountability.
LegalZoom
It's
makes more money
mostly-
than any of us put together.
It's mostly,
Absolutely.
there you go.
Yeah.
It's mostly experience.
Yeah.
It's experience. And Gino and I talk about it. You're very experienced, and you dive in and you ask the right questions, which makes you even better and better and better and better because you do your homework and you study. You don't ask the same questions each time. You get better and better. We do more loans than most in this town, which allows us to get 3 to 10 times more experience.
Right.
So we see more avenues, like the scenario you sent our direction. We're like, hey, I think we've dealt with something similar to that.
Yep.
Or we can connect the dots because of our past experience.
Right.
You have that same experience. We're talking with Lisa Odom with Pool Shaffery. She's a estate planner, probate attorney, business law, real estate law, you name it. But it's good that you have all that experience because you ask different questions now based on their particular scenario.
Yep.
Where a LegalZoom, nothing against it, it's an algorithm. It doesn't have your experience.
Well,
Yeah.
so let me tie that to our business, Don, is we have automated underwriting systems, right?
Yeah.
That's exactly what LegalZoom is, right? It's an algorithm,
there you go.
right? So the reality is if automated underwriting systems were that good, we wouldn't need human underwriters.
Right.
Right, but we still have human underwriters because what it does is it gives you some guidance, and LegalZoom can give you some guidance, like you mentioned.
Perfect example, though. The automated system is only as good as what you put in.
Yes.
So you can put anything you want into our same
Yeah.
thing with LegalZoom. You
I-
put the wrong information or don't understand the question, you just ruined your
think-
whole estate plan.
Yeah.
I think I could
Absolutely.
say this on the air: crap in, crap out.
And
Oh, we're going to
people-
go see
I know.
Jerry right after this.
I often think that people feel like that maybe we think that they're not as smart because maybe they don't know how to answer those questions that they are popping into LegalZoom, but it's actually a very complicated area of the law. It has a lot of different facets that have to be considered, and it really takes a human touch to really understand because these are humans you're talking about. It's not just about money. It's about where people go. What happens to your body? What happens to your person if you're unable to make decisions? Those are kind of personal things. And so I don't know if I would want a computer deciding. That's why I use the WebMD example. I go to WebMD if I see like a weird scratch. I'm like, what might that be?
You
And
might be
then-
dying though.
But then
That's what
sometimes
it'll
it's like, oh, that could be a sign of lymphoma, and you're like, what? And then you go and your doctor's like, it's a scratch, Lisa.
Yeah,
it's
it's
not
okay.
lymphoma.
So,
And so, you really have to take those things with a grain of salt. And so I find it to be rather disconcerting that people, and that's why I brought up the Facebook tag. I appreciated it But when I see the LegalZoom, I want to be like, and that's a substitute for someone who had to use their brain to get through school and to figure out how to advise you properly so we can give you absolutely what you need to protect your family. I think LegalZoom is going to come short on most people. So if they do LegalZoom, I always just recommend that they have a lawyer review it. Even if most lawyers are going to charge less to do a quick review, I'm very honest with my clients. If it looks okay and it works for their family, I'm not going to tell them to do anything. The biggest problem we see with LegalZoom is not only that there's usually some failures to handle some situations with minor children, but the other big thing is funding. You know, the trust isn't worth the paper it's written on if you actually haven't put your assets into it. And the several trust administrations I've had from LegalZoom documents, the biggest problem has been funding. Every single one of them has ended up in probate. So if the reason you're doing a trust is to avoid probate, and you do it through LegalZoom and you don't get proper advice on how to make sure it's funded because they do not provide that advice and it's in their disclaimer, you're going to be in trouble. You're still going to be in a probate.
All right, if you want to stay out of trouble, you want to protect your family, you want a good friend and somebody you can trust, you can reach out to Lisa Odom with Pool Shaffery. How do they get a hold of you again, Lisa?
661-290-2991, or check us out on our website at www.poolshaffery.com. Or you can email me at lodom@poolshaffery.com.
And we'll have these all recorded on YouTube on donandgino.com. Thank you for being part of our show every Saturday, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Again, go to donandgino.com. Check out our YouTube channel. Check out nrecafe.com, aprg.com. We have it all for you. Thank you for being part of our show.
Yep. And this year, and based on today's show, you really need to take action. Don and I have been begging you to take action. And I'm going to call my friend again today. I'm going to tell him to take action.
All right.
Thanks so much for having me.
All right. Thanks, Lisa. And you all have a great weekend.